creatives, and welcome to another video. So today I'm here to share a winter themed flipbook, and this flipbook is inspired by something that I saw in one of Barbara her journals. Barbara is from 49 Dragonfly. She's amazing. If I don't forget to link her down below, I will link her down below. If I do forget, please comment and tell me that I did. But I saw something in one of her journals and that inspired me to create this pocket flip out thing into a Happy Mail. And as you can see in the screen, I have put the measurements for you up there that I use. Now you can create this in whichever size you want. You don't have to use my sizes. You don't have to do it like me at all. I'm just here to give you some inspiration. But for the ones who are wondering what sizes I used, I have put it up the screen, and I hope that that will be enough. What I do love to do is I always have half an inch of a gluing flap, because I feel that is a nice size to glue down, and it makes a little bit more space to add your glue. Also, most of my tape is half an inch, and it's very easy size to measure with, because I'm not from the US, I'm European, so I use centimeters. I do craft in inches, which is really fun, because a lot of things happen in inches, but if I really have to calculate something, I can't do that in inches. I just don't understand it. So now I have my 3 flaps, and they will be attached to each other, and then they will flip out. And now it is time to add some collage. So what I'm going to do now is I have my little scrap bin over there, and I'm just going to pull out pieces, and I'm going to collage on both sides of this paper. So my base paper is just a regular sheet of A4 paper. It is printer paper, so it is super thin, but I didn't mind that because I knew I was going to add 2 layers of collage onto this piece. And with mail, I don't know if it is in every country like this, but in my country weight counts. So if I can work around working with thick cardstock, then I would because paper weight counts in my envelopes. So I thought, if I want to have a nice base, why not use just some regular printer paper as my base, and then collage onto that, and that will also make it a lot more sturdy. Now, my little scrap bin has all kinds of scraps. So the things that you saw me glue down just a second ago was from a magazine image. It was a black and white magazine image, and I like to keep the offcuts because they just look very cool, and you can use them again. I'm also using quite a lot of the Your Creative Studio box in my video. This sticker paper is from a Your Creative Studio box from a month ago, and I am using that. Same with the sticker paper you see on the side with the snowflakes. That's also from Your Creative Studio box. So I do use things from that for this mail, and for the rest it's just me tearing up scraps and gluing it down. So I will leave you here to watch me collage. I left it in because I think some of you might enjoy me seeing how I am going to collage this. If you don't, I will leave a timestamp for you in the description box where you can click on when the next step is there. So yeah, little side note here, you see me fuss around with the flaps. That's because perfectionism hit me, and I thought, oh, the text is upside down, it can't be upside down. But of course it can. So that was a little fun thing that I saw. I hope you enjoy seeing me how I collage this with a little bit of music, and then I will be back with you once I'm going to be doing the next step. after I have covered my panels completely, except for that one place that I will see later on, don't worry about it. After I have covered them completely, I'm going to ink them up with some vintage photo. I'm going to ink up all the outsides and insides. As you can see, I have also created a pocket, and that pocket is just by scoring, as you saw on the first panel, and these measurements are in the beginning of the video, and flipping it up, and that will be an easy pocket. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew around all of these pieces. I just recently got a sewing machine, so I'm absolutely hooked and I want to use it on all my projects. But if you don't have a sewing machine, because you don't need a sewing machine for this, you can just add glue to the two sides of the pocket so that it will close. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble my flip out book, and this is what I saw in Barbara, her video. She had something like this, and I thought it would be such a cute happy meal and something a little bit different. Barbara, her videos have really helped me through my burnout. I'm still having a burnout, so if I'm not much around, that is why, or if I'm late with answering to your comments, that is why. But I do very much enjoy crafting again, which is very, very good, and I am very much enjoying creating videos again. In this different way than I used to do, and I'm having a lot of fun, so I really want to share it with you, but bear with me while I'm recovering. So her videos really pulled me through. They still do, and she gave me a lot of inspiration. So yeah, I want to thank you, Barbara, for giving me the inspiration to craft again and to, get through that rut. So what I did is I went through one of my books that I bought in the thrift store with tons and tons of animal illustrations. Oh, I love them so much. And I saw this majestic owl. I mean, I love him. He's gorgeous. I thought he would be a great cover piece. So I wanted to add him to my cover. And the funny thing is, I did know when I started this project, I did know I wanted to create something wintry, so that's why I picked neutrals and blues, but I didn't know anything about my focal points yet. And when I flipped through this book and I saw him, I just knew he had to go on there. And so he was the starting off point for certain images that I chose, or certain products that I chose to use because of him. So I found some stamps in my stamp book that I wanted to use to jazz up the background a little bit. I feel postage stamps are such a great collage product to have. These are all used postage stamps because they can be in your background layer. They can be an in-between layer like they are here, but they can also be a focal point. So that is why I love using postage stamps in my crafts and in my collages. And they just look so cool. I use some neutral ones and some blue ones here. And now I'm going to spell out the recipient name with these happy planner stickers. And I'm going to spell out Hi Margreet, because this one is staying in the Netherlands, which is also pretty exciting. So now I thought something was missing, so I took this stamp set from Your Creative Studio, and I'm taking one of these snowflakes and I'm stamping first, second and third generation to get a little bit of depth with a blue ink, and I absolutely love that. Now I also wanted something to show that you could flip this open, so I decided to create a tab from one of the sticker papers from Your Creative Studio, and lucky me, this wasn't glued down properly, so I was able to pull it up a little bit and put my tab underneath it. And these things happen when you don't plan out your project, but you just go for it. I do a lot of my stuff on intuition or in baby steps, or just because I like them or I feel like it. So these unplanned things happened. So I was lucky that it wasn't glued down properly yet. It wouldn't come off or anything, but I was able to move it, so I could put my tab on a place that would look more fitting. And I'm going to add some extra glue on where I have sewn to make sure that this flap will stay on my flipbook. And after that, I am very, very happy with how my cover turned out. It is something so different from what I made before, so that's really, really fun. I also wanted to add something to the tab, so I'm going to add some words, and I'm going to add encourage, and the second word is explore, I believe. Oh no, experience. And then my front cover is finished. So now on to the inside. So I have found a box at the thrift store with 1,000 of these small coin envelopes, and they were so cheap. I felt so lucky. You know, when you go through the thrift store and you find a treasure, it makes me so excited. And going thrifting really also helps me with my burnout, because when I'm in a thrift store, I am in that place and I'm just in that place. So I don't think about tomorrow. I don't think about yesterday. I don't think about all the things that I have to do. The only thing I am thinking about in the thrift store is just me and the wonderful stuff there and what I can create with it. So for example, I also got this book there, and I'm showing you that I'm cutting out images from this book to use again, and these are real letters, but of course they are printed in a book, but they are great ephemera pieces. So I cut them out and I will put them in this mail later on for the recipient to use. At first I thought I wanted to collage with them, but they were a little bit too big. And also I didn't feel it on that envelope. So I went back into my scrap box, and I have one of that sticky paper snowflake things from Your Creative Studio. And I thought then it needs another owl. So I'm going to cut out this small owlie, and I am going to fussy cut him, of course, and then I'm going to put him on the pocket, and he really made it. Now I chose him because he is also looking inwards to the pocket or to the flipbook and not outwards, and he is a decent size for this envelope. So that is why I picked him. And now it was time to start assembling my embellishment cluster. So that big label thing is also from Your Creative Studio, and I have grabbed some stamps, and now I'm going to find the perfect composition, of course, for this flipbook. I was thinking about that one of these stamps was falling away in the background a bit too much. So I was thinking, do I want to change it for one with a little bit more blue? And it felt better with the contrast, so I chose to add that stamp. And now I am gluing down my cluster. So I'm showing you here how I glue down things, because sometimes gluing down can be a big struggle, especially when you're quite particular about how you want your pieces. But I try to use the top-down glue method that I saw in Barbara's videos, and then add my excess pieces. Now I feel sometimes that I cheat a little bit because I have a photographic memory, so I can see in my brain how I had my pieces. Even then, of course, I don't always get it perfectly back, but most of the time I don't feel stressed about it because I see in my brain a picture of how I had it. So sometimes it feels like cheating for me, I have to say. It's also really funny because before I do things like this, I already see the process video in my brain. So I already know kinda how it's going to look. So sometimes I feel like cheating or something. But you know, it's just how my brain works, so I can't help it. So yeah, I thought I wanted to add some stamping, and I'm absolutely in love with these Tim Holtz text stamps. They are called Faded Type, and I'm using them on several projects. They are amazing. I find myself turning at the moment more to using or upcycling books and Tim his products. So I think Marie is very, very happy that I do so, but you know, your style evolves and changes, and it doesn't mean that I am not going to use bright colors again. I mean, I love bright colors. I don't think I have a particular style. I don't know, do you guys think I have a style? Do you see my work and then think, oh yes, that's Kyra? Because I don't know, I don't feel like I have a particular style, because I love to create with vintage products. But I also love to create with bright color products. I have just created a mint and pink colored mail, and I don't know, maybe I do have a style, I'm not quite sure. So here I am putting some pieces in that I want to send to the recipient. So 2 of the book page images, and I am putting in more of these coin envelopes and also some sheets from the Your Creatives. Oh no, I'm going to put that in later. I like to create my pockets in a certain way that when the recipient takes out the ephemera, that it still looks pretty. And I thought something was still missing, so that is why I took these washi stickers from Your Creative Studio that were also in one of the boxes to decorate behind the coin envelope just a little bit more, so it looks pretty when the recipient takes out the embellishments. I also thought it was fun to add another word that will be behind the ephemera, so once you take it out you can see that I put the word magical over there. And then I'm checking how everything looks. It is something that I like to do with my projects, is to see how it looks. So I sometimes just flip through the flipbook every now and then to see how it looks. I'm also adding some washi samples in the coin envelope because it's something that I like to do and I like to receive, so I also like to give washi tape. And now I'm moving on to another panel. So I found some other stickers in that washi set that I thought would look fun, but that deer was just a little bit too small. So I decided to take one of my books that I bought at a thrift store and to find images of deer, and they were the perfect size for my flipbook. I was so excited to find these and to be able to use them because I think they really fit the winter theme and the snowy vibe, and you know, made me really happy. So I decided to fussy cut them. And now I'm going to create just a decorative panel because you don't have to put goodies on all the pages, right? Sometimes just a pretty page is beautiful as well. So I'm creating this embellishment cluster with some washi tape and some more things from Your Creative Studio boxes. I'm putting this under his feet because otherwise it feels like he is floating on the page. So I like to have something for my deer to stand on, or on other animals, so it feels like they are standing on something. And after I was happy with that, I am going to adhere everything down. So it was just a really fun project. It was actually the first snail mail I made in a very long time because I love doing snail mail, but with my burnout I also have a lot of trouble with pressure and perfectionism, and I felt the pressure to create something amazing for someone else, and I just couldn't deal with it at the moment. So I was very happy to feel inspired again and to create this, and I think this is one of the most beautiful mail I have made in a very long time. Maybe also because of the feeling I had with it. Just everything went so well, and I was not stressed about finishing the project, and I wasn't stressed about making it perfect. I was just doing what felt right to me, and that was really nice. So if you remember, we created a back pocket, and I want to add some bigger ephemera pieces in there. So I have some sheets from Your Creative Studio box. These owl sheets are from there, but they were a little bit too big for my pocket. So I decided to trim off a slither of the top to make them fit inside the pocket. I don't know, it really bothered me that the whites of the back was sticking out with this particular mail. Doesn't always bother me, but with this mail it did. I think it is because everything was so nicely covered and neutral and brown, and then all of a sudden you have such a big white space. So I wanted to make them fit, as also adding some more pieces of Your Creative Studio boxes that have to do with winter or Christmas, because this mail was actually sent out before Christmas. But like I said before, I like it when the recipient takes out the ephemera. It still looks pretty. So I'm going to create a little collage on the backside, and I'm taking one of the labels from Your Creative Studio box, and I cut them out because I thought the white border was just too big. I'm also taking some postage stamps again from the Netherlands. These are December zegels, so these are especially for December. PostNL makes them every year, so you can send out Christmas cards a little bit more cheaper, which is very nice. I don't do Christmas cards, but for the ones that do, it's very nice to have December zegels. And now I'm just playing around with some of the washi stickers. So I like to repeat certain elements on my mail. So that's why you see the postage stamps repeat. But also now the washi stickers. So I have added them at one place. And then I also want to add them on other places. Now I forgot to add some Distress Oxide vintage photo on my label. So I was happy that I was still able to take my cluster apart. And now I'm going to glue everything back together and making sure that it is nicely stuck down. I use my Nuvo Deluxe glue for this, a glue I very, very much enjoy using. Making sure that the washi stickers are in the pocket, because I think it creates a lot more depth if you let things overlap. So if you put something in the pocket, it feels more like a whole piece than just a cluster above your pocket. Now I found this beautiful tree, and like I said before, I love it if I can create a ground for my pieces to stand on. So it felt like the Christmas tree was just floating over there. So I decided to grab some washi tape. At first I thought I wanted to maybe use a little bit of the brown paper, but it was too brown, it was too dark. So I decided to use washi tape that I already used before. I also added these washi samples in my mail. I like to give samples of the washi that I actually used. If I still have the washi, of course. If the roll is almost up, I don't tend to give it, but most of the time I have enough washi to share. So I like to repeat that on the mail. And then I'm adding a little quote in there that says, if you're lucky enough to be different, never change. And that will be a fun interactive element. If you take out all the ephemera, then this will appear, and it's something I very much enjoy doing. So I added these pieces, and then I thought I am going to give the recipient a deer. So I fussy cut it for her. Sometimes I don't, but that is a big meaning of me taking my time for these things. Usually I don't fussy cut for others simply because it takes up too much time. But I wasn't worried about time this time. So I fussy cut it, and I love him in there with some extra labels that I also used in the mail. And I added the word adventure, and then I was looking if I wanted to add something else, and I was okay with how it was looking. So I moved on to the second panel on the inside. Now I also needed a spot for my note. And I recently coffee dyed or tea dyed some papers. And this is one of those sheets. So I bought a new booklet like this, especially for my junk journals. And I have coffee dyed them. And I thought it was just the perfect size to write my note to the recipient. And I wanted to create a tuck spot for my letter. So I didn't want to put it in an envelope or anything or a pocket. I just want to create a tuck spot. So I'm using a big label, and this was also part of a Your Creative Studio kit. I'm just gluing it down on 3 sides so I can stick my note in there. But of course, I'm not ready after this. There needs to be something exciting once the recipient takes out the note. And I remembered that this notepad paper also had this very cute house in there. So I thought it would look very fun if I would fussy cut that house out of the notebook paper and stick it down as a die cut. So look at your ephemera in a different way, or your journaling cards or your papers. You can always fussy cut things out of them. Also from the kits that I, for example, create, you can always fussy cut out extra things, even when they were not meant that way. Make them your own and use them in your own unique way, and then your ephemera will also stretch longer, because if I would only use these papers as whole papers, then there's only one way I can use them. But if I cut things out of them, I can use them in several ways. So I was happy with my pocket, and I added my sentiment, and then here I am looking again how it is looking, and I'm super excited about this one. And there was one pocket or one panel still left to create. So I thought it would be fun to add some mini envelopes. I have bought this mini envelope punch board. I also have the regular one and I use it all the time for my snail mail. I absolutely love it, that it is an easy way to create envelopes. And I also recently bought the mini one. So I measured the width of my panel in between my sewing, and that way I knew how wide my envelope could be. So I looked for that on the envelope punch board. I believe it was 2.5 inch, and then there's a height with it and a paper size. Now I can't remember what the size of this was anymore because I have created this mail at the beginning of December, I believe, so I don't remember the size anymore. But if you have a size, the width of your panel, you know exactly how big it can be. So I decided to create 2, and I'm using as a backing the printer paper that I already used before, because I really wanted to use this sticky sticker paper because I loved the design on it, but then I had to back it on some other paper so it wouldn't be sticky anymore. And I had, of course, the perfect printer paper that was light blue, so I used that again, what I also used for the base. And now I just created these 2 super cute envelopes. I mean, aren't they cute? I love them. I also etched them with some Distress Oxide vintage photo, checking if they would fit, and they did. And then I decided to cut off a piece of that envelope flap, because it was just, in my opinion, too big and would get in the way. So I thought it would look a little bit more sophisticated or something if I would cut off that little piece of the inside flap. Also, so it would be easier for the recipient to take out what was in there. I'm taking some glue and now I'm sticking everything together. And look at this cute little envelope. I'm super excited about it. So one of these envelopes will be stuck down as a tuck spot or pocket, and the other one will be put in there so the recipient can take it out and use it on her own. But I wasn't quite sure on how I wanted to do it and how it would look nice. So I try out several orientations, and after a little while I was like, Kyra, okay, stop fussing around. This is how you're going to do it. I'm taking some of these small washi stickers, which were the perfect size, especially for this small panel. Also taking one of the stamps to give it a little bit of a different texture and different feel. And now I'm going to stick everything down, making sure that the envelope pocket will overlap my collage cluster to create a little bit more depth. And after I was happy with that, I'm going to stick my envelope down on 3 sides. So I'm putting glue on 3 sides, so the top side will be open, so I can put that other small little envelope inside there. Now I'm taking this snowflake stamp, and this is also a repeating thing on the whole mail. You will see everywhere, and that creates a lot of cohesion. I love to create mails that are cohesive with goodies and everything. That is a fun challenge I love to do for myself. And then I thought, well, I use quite a lot of stamps, so wouldn't it be fun if I would send some of these stamps to the recipient so that she can use them for herself and put them in a small envelope. Now I had one little envelope left, and I decided to add some of these labels. I used one of them on a previous collage, and I thought these are so generic and so nice, so I will put them in this envelope, and they fit in perfectly. Now the flap came up, so I decided to add a little bit of washi tape to put it down. And then I was happy with my flipbook. I'm very excited about this one. I took some twine, with some dark blue in it, and I like to wrap my flipbooks as if they are a gift that you can unwrap, and put my own sticker on the back. And now it was time to create my envelope. So I'm going to create a coin envelope in the way that Barbara does, and I thought was brilliant, especially with mails and easy envelope making. So this is not my idea. This is from Barbara from 49 Dragonflies. She creates these all the time, and when I saw it, I was instantly hooked. So I'm using this technique for a lot of my envelopes simply because you don't need an envelope punch board for this. You can just fold them whatever width or height you would like them to be, and they are very easy to make. So yeah, they yeah, they are very, very, very easy. But I would like to mention that this is not my idea. Barbara makes these, and they are amazing. So after I cut out the template, I'm going to ink up all the edges of this envelope, because this will be the one I'm going to send out with. And my ink left a mark on the inside of the paper, so I knew exactly where to put my glue, which was very, very handy. And now I'm going to glue down the bottom flap, and this envelope is sturdy and secure. I used an atlas paper with the index, so this is pretty thick book page, and I feel safe to send this out in the post like this. And now I'm going to take one of the labels from Your Creative Studio, which I'm going to use to write the recipient her address in. Now the fun part starts, which is making the envelope match the project. So what I like to do is that the envelope gives a little bit of the feel of what is inside. And like I said before, how I achieve this is by repeating certain elements. So I'm using that text stamp again to create some texture with the same blue ink that I have used before. I'm using some washi strips on the bottom and also on the top to create a little bit more interest in this collage. I'm going to cut out this cheeky little owl on the side. I'm not going to use it on the front, but I am going to use it. And then I also still had this very, very small deer left from that book page. So I thought that he or she would be perfect on my envelope to give a little bit more of that feel of what was inside. And because I already had a washi tape there, it was a perfect ground for her to stand on. I'm also taking some more of these washi stickers to layer behind my deer and my label to create more interest, and also on top there. And of course, the snowflake also has to be used on this envelope, because I used it throughout the mail on the inside. And I don't know, I just really love it if the envelope gives a little bit of the feel of what is inside. Now I'm ready to stick everything down. So I'm starting with my bottom, or with my washi stickers, because they are easiest to stick down, making sure that these are behind my label so they give a little bit more interest. It's a very nice trick to do also, to overlap things or to cut them off on the edges of your paper or envelope. It gives the feel like it's supposed to be there and not like it's just stuck on there. Now it is time to glue down my small little deer, and I made sure that it would overlap the label just a tiny bit and that it would stand on the washi tape. And now I'm going to the back side. So I'm also going to add a little bit of the washi tape on the back side, and here comes that owl. And I'm going to fuss around a little bit with where I want to put him. I was also thinking if I want to add more washi tape, but I didn't do that. And then I thought he would look so cool with that washi cluster on the bottom. Adding also more of these snowflakes to create more texture. And now I'm going to write down my return address. So don't worry, this is a PO box. You can send mail to my PO box if you would like. Just beware for the long waiting times of me replying. I do reply to everyone, but it takes me quite some time to reply sometimes, and especially now in this time. I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found some inspiration for your own snail mail. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Barbara, for your inspiration. And if you like this video, I would love it if you'd give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also check out my Patreon page with the link down below in the description box. And I hope to see you all next time.